Imagine this. Empires rise with thunderous armies and golden crowns. They build towering cities, conquer continents, and print their names across history books. Then, one by one, they crumble into dust. The pharaohs of Egypt, the legions of Rome, the kings of Spain, the factories of the British Empire, all gone. Yet through every fall, one thing remains untouched, shining quietly in the ruins: gold. For over 5,000 years, while civilizations burned and currencies turned to worthless paper, gold has survived. It didn't just survive, it thrived. Kings hoarded it, warriors died for it, and everyday people still trust it when everything else fails. But why? What makes this soft, yellow metal more powerful than the greatest empires on Earth? Today, we're going to travel through time and uncover the incredible true story of gold. You'll see why it outlasted every crash, every war, and every financial meltdown in human history. And by the end, you might just look at your own savings in a completely new way. Stick around, because this story could change how you think about money forever. Let's start at the very beginning. Picture the banks of the Nile River, around 3000 BC. Ancient Egypt is just beginning to flourish. The pharaohs aren't just rulers, they're living gods. And what do gods demand? Eternal symbols of power. They find it in the desert sands, shimmering nuggets of gold. Egyptian artisans hammer it into death masks, so perfect they still gleam today. Like Tutankhamun's famous mask. They bury kings with hundreds of kilograms of it, believing it would carry their souls into the afterlife. Why gold? It didn't tarnish. It didn't rust. It was beautiful and rare. The Egyptians didn't have banks or stock markets. Gold was their ultimate store of value. When the Old Kingdom collapsed around 2200 BC, amid famine and chaos, the gold remained. New dynasties rose, melted down old treasures, and kept the cycle going. Empires fell, but the metal endured. Jump forward 1,000 years to the Mediterranean. The Phoenicians, master sailors and traders, spread gold across the ancient world. They didn't conquer with swords alone, they conquered with commerce. Gold coins became the language of trade from Carthage to Greece. Then came Alexander the Great. In the 4th century BC, his Macedonian army swept across Persia and into India. They didn't just win battles, they captured treasuries filled with gold. Alexander's conquests spread this wealth, founding new cities and legends. But after his death, his empire fractured. Yet the gold, it circulated, traded, and survived in the hands of new rulers. The real masterclass in gold's power comes from Rome. By the time of Julius Caesar, Rome controlled an empire so vast the sun never set on its borders. Their currency, the aureus, was a gold coin so pure it was trusted from Britain to Egypt. Soldiers were paid in gold. Merchants traded in gold. The Roman economy ran on it. But here's where the story gets dark and incredibly relevant today. As Rome grew decadent, emperors faced a problem. Too much spending on wars, bread, and circuses for the masses. What did they do? They started debasing the currency. They mixed cheaper metals into the gold coins, reducing the actual gold content. Inflation exploded. Trust evaporated. By the 3rd century AD, during the crisis of the 3rd century, Rome was a mess of civil wars, plagues, and economic collapse. One emperor after another was assassinated. The mighty aureus became nearly worthless. Yet, pure gold itself? People hoarded it in secret. When the Western Roman Empire finally fell in 476 AD, barbarian kings melted down Roman treasures, but the gold didn't disappear. It simply changed hands. The Byzantine Empire in the east kept the gold standard alive for centuries more. Gold had outlived Rome. This pattern repeats throughout history, like a broken record. Fast forward to medieval Europe. Kings and popes fought brutal wars. The Black Death wiped out a third of the population. Currencies failed again and again. But gold from the Americas would soon change everything. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed west, looking for a trade route to India. What he found instead sparked the biggest gold rush in history. Pizarro conquered the Aztec and Inca empires. They shipped back galleons loaded with gold and silver. Spain became the richest nation in Europe almost overnight. But here's the twist that ruined them: the price revolution. So much gold and silver flooded Europe that prices skyrocketed. A loaf of bread that cost 1 coin now cost 10. Spain spent their treasure on endless wars and luxury, instead of building real industry. By the 17th century, Spain was bankrupt. Despite all that gold, their empire declined. Meanwhile, other nations learned the lesson. The Dutch and British built banks and companies that used gold as a stable foundation, not just a shiny toy. The Bank of England, founded in 1694, backed its notes with gold. This created trust and helped Britain dominate the world during the Industrial Revolution. Gold wasn't just money, it was a promise that the currency had real value behind it. Now, let's talk about the 19th and 20th centuries, the era of massive empires and even bigger falls. The British Empire, at its peak, controlled a quarter of the world's land and population. The pound sterling was the world's reserve currency, backed by gold. The gold standard meant you could walk into a bank and exchange paper money for actual gold coins. This system brought incredible stability and fueled global trade. Then came World War I. Governments needed to print massive amounts of money to fund the slaughter. They abandoned the gold standard. Inflation and chaos followed. After the war, countries tried to return to gold, but the Great Depression shattered everything. In 1929, the stock market crashed. Banks failed. Unemployment hit 25% in America. People rushed to withdraw their savings, but many banks didn't have enough gold to back the deposits. President Franklin D. Roosevelt took the US off the gold standard domestically in 1933. He even made it illegal for Americans to own gold bullion. The government confiscated people's gold and revalued it higher to inflate the money supply. Sounds crazy, right? But it happened. And through it all, gold's value soared. When people could get their hands on it again, World War II destroyed even more. Cities were bombed to rubble. Currencies collapsed in Germany, Japan, and across Europe. The Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 tried to restore order. The US dollar became the world's anchor, convertible to gold at $35 per ounce. Other currencies were pegged to the dollar. For a while, it worked. Post-war boom, reconstruction, prosperity. But by the 1960s, America was spending heavily on the Vietnam War and Great Society programs. They printed more dollars than they had gold to back. Foreign countries, especially France under de Gaulle, started demanding gold for their dollars. The US gold reserves were draining fast. In 1971, President Richard Nixon shocked the world. He closed the gold window. The dollar was no longer convertible to gold. This was the final end of the classical gold standard. Many economists cheered it as modern progress. Others warned it would unleash unlimited money printing. What happened next? The 1970s stagflation, high inflation, and high unemployment. Gold prices exploded, from $35 an ounce to over $800 by 1980. People who held gold protected their wealth, while paper money lost value rapidly. Fast forward to more recent history. The 2008 financial crisis. Banks collapsed. Governments bailed them out with trillions of new dollars. Quantitative easing, basically printing money on a massive scale. Central banks around the world bought gold like never before. China, Russia, India, they diversified away from pure reliance on the dollar. During the COVID-19 pandemic, governments printed even more. Inflation spiked globally from 2021 to 2022. Once again, gold shone as a safe haven. So, after 5,000 years, why does gold keep winning? First, its physical properties are almost magical for money. It's durable. It doesn't corrode or tarnish. A gold coin from ancient Rome still looks beautiful today. It's divisible. You can melt it down and make smaller pieces without losing value. It's portable. A small amount represents huge wealth. It's scarce. We can't just print more of it like paper money. And it's universally beautiful and desirable across every culture. But the deeper reason is psychological and economic. Gold is no one's liability. Unlike stocks, bonds, or bank deposits, gold doesn't depend on any government or company promising to pay you back. When trust in institutions collapses during wars, hyperinflation, or banking crises, people run to gold. Economists call this the store of value function. Studies from the World Gold Council and academic research show that gold has maintained its purchasing power over centuries, even as empires rose and fell. While fiat currencies have come and gone, the German mark after WWI, the Zimbabwe dollar, the Venezuelan bolivar, gold endures. Central banks know this. Today, they hold over 35,000 tons of gold in reserves. The US still has the largest official holdings. Even as they talk about digital currencies and CBDCs, they keep stacking physical gold. Now, let's address the modern world. Is gold still relevant in the age of Bitcoin, stocks, and digital finance? Absolutely. Bitcoin is often called digital gold, but it hasn't been tested through 5,000 years of chaos yet. Stocks can crash 50% in a bear market. Real estate can freeze during crises. But gold has this unique role as insurance against extreme uncertainty. During the 2022 inflation surge, gold performed strongly, while many assets struggled. In times of geopolitical tension, wars in Ukraine, tensions in the Middle East, gold prices rise as people seek safety. What does this mean for you? In a world of endless money printing, rising debt, and unpredictable events, gold reminds us of a simple truth. Not all money is created equal. Some forms of wealth are more permanent than others. Throughout history, the people who understood gold's power, whether ancient pharaohs, medieval merchants, or smart investors in the 1970s, preserved their wealth across generations. Those who didn't often lost everything when the system broke. The story of gold isn't just about shiny metal. It's about human nature, trust, scarcity, and the search for something real in an uncertain world. As we watch new technologies promise to revolutionize money once again, gold's 5,000-year track record stands as a quiet challenge. Will the new system survive? The next empire's fall, or will gold still be here, shining in the ruins? The choice of how you protect your own future.
Here is yours. But history has shown us, time and time again, that gold has a very special way of outlasting everything else. Thank you for joining this journey through time. If this story resonated with you, and think about what other aspects of money and history you'd like to explore next.
Hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world, and share your thoughts in the comments. What surprised you most about gold's story? Have you ever held physical gold? Let's discuss. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, in a changing world, some things truly are timeless.